All right. You are looking live. It's sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Cleveland Browns. And why are the Cleveland Browns 0-16? Because they suck. They went 0-16 in 2017. Ain't won a championship since 1964. Cleveland Browns, you suck. That still gets me every time. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all, it's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replays, once again, thank you so much from the bottom up. It means the world to me. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw in the chat box. Oh, my buddy Rainey's here. All right. But anything, say, just throw in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free and fire away. But also, seriously, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might wind up being, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So once again, please feel free. Fire away. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Goodbye. Second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third one I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me, and I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you're subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you want to subscribe to my channel, thank you. And maybe even give this video a thumbs up or share it. That'd be freaking awesome. And then finally, also, little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in that one in just a second. And then the one underneath it, I'm an old-time fart. Can't stand change. I'm one of them old-time, get off the lawn kind of old-time farts, right? It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter to me. It'll always be Twitter to me, right? Can't stand change, right? Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants you to call it, that's on you, bro. I ain't calling it that. It's Twitter. I'm going to call it Twitter. Right? Follow me on Twitter. I'll follow you back. That's an absolute promise. I try to put Giants-related stuff on my Twitter account every day. And then finally, also, the link on top of takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. I know it's very original. Basically, right now we have over 8,100 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing, and if I have internet access, I'll put stuff in this group darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in this group, but the members post stuff in this group as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton. There's a whole lot of New York Giants information going into this group every day. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You won't be dissatisfied. I promise. All right, with all that stuff said and done and out of the way with, well, you got there's always, well, of course, there's always something to talk about, but, you got, one thing is, the Darius Slayton thing, right? Of course, next 7 days. 7 days. Mel Hein, 1931 to 1945. I'll tell you what. You play in the NFL from 1931 to 1945. Let me tell you freaking what. That's a long career. Long. The guy, the thumbnail, number 7, Mel Hein. That's why you don't see anybody wearing the number 7 for New York Giants, because of that guy right there, Mel Hein. The only offensive lineman in the history of the NFL to win the MVP award, 1938. The Giants, that's when they won their 3rd championship. They beat the Green Bay Packers 23-17. Right. Where would they go? That's why. So number 7, Mel Hein. So we're Mel Hein days. Actually, in about a little over an hour, going to be 6 days away. from the draft. So, you know, with the Darius Slayton thing, you know, I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. So if we start looking at some of the numbers here, I don't blame him at all. You know, it's just a couple of things, you know. So now you don't know, right? And you'll never know. Is he obviously holding out and trying to, you know, say he's not happy? And maybe Oshane will oblige, meaning, you know, trade him. Because you got to look at it, right? And I said, once again, I'm going to look at the numbers. We'll go over some of the numbers here and all and everything. And, you know, you really can't blame the guy. I mean, he signed a 2-year contract, right? So, I mean, he's under contract. You sign a contract. And this is one thing I never really like. You know what I mean? You sign a contract. You know, if you're not happy with it, you know, well, don't worry, what do you sign a contract for then? You know what I mean? But if you're under contract, and once again, it didn't show up, it was voluntary. It wasn't mandatory, it was voluntary. But I mean, if he's trying to hold out maybe for another contract. All right, buddy. Buddy Manny. Okay, pal. You got to throw up. Make sure I'm done. You got to throw up. Do it after the video. Nothing worse than me talking there for an hour and I got a pile of dog vomit underneath me. But anyway, that's one thing I just can't stand. Absolutely can't stand. And once again, I can certainly see where the guys are coming from. I can understand. But I mean, if you sign a contract, you know, you're here for 2 years, right? You sign a 2-year contract. You put your name. If you think you're not going to like it, or you're not going to want it, or you might want this or that, don't sign it. But you signed it. You know, as I said, once again, it's not like he missed something mandatory. Yeah, once again, so a lot of the stuff can be getting blown way out of proportion, right? So that he's under contract. If I think it's like $6.2 million now. Is he getting underpaid? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. Especially if you look at the other teams, you know, what they're paying their top receivers and all and everything. He's getting paid a quarter of what DeVonta Smith's getting paid. Yeah, DeVonta Smith just signed a deal for like $25 million. Of course, you know, that's Howie Roseman. You know, there'd be like 842 void years added on to DeVonta Smith's contract. So DeVonta Smith will be 1,742,000 years old, and he'll still be getting paid from the Eagles because so basically, you know, he gets his money, but it's spread out, you know, over these void years and all. So basically the cap hit each year is really low. So once again, it seems like Howie's just like kicking money down the road. Tries to make himself look big, but actually he's like kicking money down the road. It seems like, you know, so it's just, once again, it's not very intelligent, but that's the Eagles for you. Anyway, but I mean, Darius Slayton's leading the team in receiving, and for with no offensive line, a horrible quarterback play, you know, or spotty quarterback play. I mean, Tyrod had some moments in there last season, but once again, injuries, and then we got the third string quarterback in there, and Daniel Jones got injured a couple times last season, and just very averaging 15 points a game and all that, and he had like over 700 yards receiving. Now, once again, I mean, some of this stuff's a little. You got to keep proportion, you know what I mean? Because when you start, you know, talking about whatever, you know, Darius Slayton, his rookie season had so many yards. I mean, and now we're playing an extra game too. It's just one, but we are playing an extra game. So sometimes when, you know, the stats a little more elevated than they were a couple of years ago, whatever, well, that's because we're playing an extra game. You know, of course, because it's all about the money. But anyway, I mean, if you look at Darius Slayton here, right? I mean, 4 out of his 5 years, he had over 700 yards receiving, which on this pathetic offense that we've had for the past however many years, that's pretty darn good. Basically, you know, we had Odell Beckham Jr., right? Maybe heard of him. No, but he was here. You know, him and Barkley. Right? They crossed paths for the one season. Barkley's rookie season, Odell Beckham Jr., we had Eli Manning, we had Evan Ingram, we had Odell Beckham Jr., we had Saquon Barkley. Quite possibly, Evan Ingram can be a huge mismatch. Right? And I said then Odell Beckham, Saquon, and Eli Manning. So we had, roughly you can look at 3 of the best 4 positional players at those positions. I'll still take Tiki Barber over Saquon, but Saquon was more of a, somebody can take it to the house. I mean, if we had Saquon Barkley, you put Saquon Barkley behind the 2006 or 2007 or 2008 offensive lines behind that the Giants had back then, Saquon would be going stock walk crazy. Put Saquon Barkley between the offensive lines that we've had the past few seasons, and he's not going to do that well. But anyway, when Darius Slayton came in, his first season, he had 740 yards. Of course, he had the 8 touchdowns. But 4 out of 5 seasons he has over 700 yards receiving. The one season was 2021. He missed. He only started in 5 games. Right? Looks like he missed like 4 games. So he had 339 yards. Right? His targets were way down. He only had 58 targets. Last season, he had 79, So, he only had 26 catches. Last season, he had 50, right? And I said, it's 770 yards once again, 17 games, though. But, 4 of his 5 seasons, he's had, over 700 yards. So it's kind of hard to argue, especially, and if we look, let's see here, New York Giants. Okay. So in 2019, his rookie season, all right, he led the team. Golden Tate at 676 yards receiving. Sterling Shepard at 576, but of course, Sterling Shepard, shocking. I know. I was shocked myself. But Sterling Shepard got injured. It's hard to believe. But he got injured. But so Darius Slayton, missed 2 games, only started in 9 games, and he still had 740 yards receiving, and he had 8 touchdowns. He had 15.4 yards of reception. So he led the team in receiving. All right, his rookie season, 2019. Then we go to 2020, next season. All right. Let's see here. Once again, he had over 700 yards receiving. He had 751. With Sterling Shepard at 656. Once again, hard to believe. Shocked. I know. Sterling Shepard missed 4 games. Evan Ingram, he had 654 yards receiving. Golden Tate at 388. But once again, Darius Slayton, once again, the second season in a row, 5th round pick, led the team in receiving yards, 751 receptions. 751 receiving yards. I'm sorry, he had 50 receptions, averaged 15 yards of reception. He came down. He only had the 3 touchdown receptions, but he had 8 his rookie season, which was was rather eye-opening. But then, of course, in 2021, that was the year he missed a few games. So he let's see here. Who led the team? We had a bunch of, my God, we had one guy with 400 yards, another guy with 400, another one with 300, another one with 300, another one with 200, another one with 200, another one with 500. Jesus Christ. We had a bunch of nothing but mediocrity. Saquon Barkley had 263 yards receiving. Devontae Booker had 268 receiving yards. So running back with 2, another one with 200 yards, a receiver with 4, another one with 4, another one with 3, another one with 3, another one with 2, one with 5, another one with 2. It's like, where's the dog at, right? So, as I said, Darius Slayton only had 339 yards. He missed some time, and he only started in 5 games. So that was just one real bad season. Okay. Then 2022, Darius Slayton. Okay. What do we got here? He led the team once again, receptions, 724. Now, Richie James and Saquon Barkley both led the team in receptions with 57. Okay. But Darius Slayton had 46 receptions, but he had 724 receiving yards. He only had two touchdowns, but he averaged, once again, 15.7 yards reception. So, I mean, look for his career. I mean, he's averaged, what we got? 15.4, 15, 2022, 15.7, 15.4. So one season he was injured and he missed some time. He averaged 13, but for his career, he's averaging 15.1 yards of reception. Okay. And then, so once again, he led the team in receiving yards. Right. And then this past season, once again, Darius Slayton. All right. Now let's see. Let's get the stats up here once again. All right. Saquon at 280 yards. Waddle at 525. Darren Waller 552. Bellinger 255. Jalen Hyatt 373. Isaiah Hodgins 230. Paris Campbell had 104. He caught 20 passes for 104 yards. Unbelievable. But once again, Darius Slayton, 700. It didn't lead the team in receptions, but receiving yards and yards per reception. Okay. So in 4 out of the 5 years, Darius Slayton has led this team in receiving yards. Okay. Yards per reception, receiving yards, right? A 5th round pick, So, I mean, you got somebody on your team that's leading it in 4 out of 5 years. He's leading the team in receiving yards. As I said, you look at DeVonta Smith, they just paid him $25 million. Is he 4 times better than Darius Slayton? No. Is he better than Darius Slayton? Oh, yeah. Does he deserve to be paid more? Absolutely, without question. Without question. No doubt about it. But, I can see maybe being paid twice as much as Darius Slayton. But is he worth 4 times what? No, absolutely not. I mean, as I said, look what he has around him. He got A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert. He got a great offensive line, right? The quarterback, he's certainly always a threat that maybe to run, So, I mean, what he had, DeVonta Smith, what he has around him helps open up everything, right? With the Giants, it's like, the spotty quarterback play, the offensive line is absolutely atrocious, and all he does every year is lead the team in receiving yards. So, once again, if he is trying to hold out maybe for a new contract or something like that, can't blame him, right? The one thing is that, it's interesting to see. I said, if he's trying to make, if he's trying to make a statement here or something like that, if, I said once again, if Shane wants to oblige, right? Maybe, maybe make him some kind of a trade bait during the draft, right? Because you look at it and it's like, they said he signed a 2-year deal. He's going to make about $6.2 million this season, once again, which is have your leading receiver. As I said, I can see if your leading receiver on your team, and if he's on his rookie deal or something like that. But 4 out of 5 years, he's only making $6 million. I mean, it's But the thing is that the Giants brought back Isaiah Hodgins, right? And this regime drafted Wan'Dale Robinson and Hyatt, right? Jalen Hyatt, okay. And Bellinger. Okay, they brought back. They got Bryce Ford Wheaton. They brought him undrafted free agent, but they got him right. They brought back Hodgins. They did sign Darius Slayton, but the thing is that this regime here, quite possibly with pick 6, it's going to take the dog, the numero uno, right, wide receiver, quite possibly. Okay, so they drafted. Once again, quite possibly they're going to draft the dog. They drafted Wan'Dale Robinson. They drafted Jalen Hyatt. And they drafted Daniel Bellinger. Okay, now, they might draft another tight end too or whatever, but, especially if Waller's not playing, Daniel Bellinger is probably going to be on the field quite a bit, right? So that means I said, so this regime drafted those 4 guys. They didn't draft Darius Slayton. Now, if he wants another contract or a contract extension or something like that, so it's like they got the dog, they got Hyatt, they got Robinson. So where does that leave Slayton? On the sideline. Maybe not every play, maybe not, but it's going to put him on the sideline maybe quite a bit. They're going to basically, just say, right, especially if Waller were to retire, just say they redo his contract and now he's up to, say, $10 million a year. Just throwing a number out there, right? So he's going to become Kenny Golladay too, coming soon to a theater near you. There you go, 3D coming at you, right? So if they re-sign him for, like, just say once again, throwing a number out there, for $10 million a season, to me it's very fair, especially because he's leading the team in receiving yards on an atrocious offense. If you have better people around him, better offensive line, better quarterback play, better offensive weapons to open stuff up and all that, he'll get even more yards, right? But my thing is that if they re-sign him for just and configure his contract or whatever, now he's going to average, like, say, maybe $10 million. And that's 3 years, they got him for $10 million. Just throwing numbers out there. You realize that, he's going to be the highest paid, as I said, especially, so if Waller does come back, I'm almost guaranteed this will be his last season. Almost guaranteed. Right. So if they do sign Slayton for, once again, about $10 million, and if Waller doesn't come back, if he retires, or even after this season, Waller's gone, realize Darius Slayton will be the highest paid offensive receiver / tight end on the roster. Because if they take a wide receiver with pick 6, I think that's like $7 million a season, maybe 7 or 8, somewhere around there. Okay. Wan'Dale Robinson's on his rookie deal. Bellinger's on his rookie deal. They brought Hodgins back. He's making like nothing. Bryce Ford Wheaton, he ain't making nothing. Right. And you got Jalen Hyatt, a 3rd-round pick. He ain't making nothing. So, right. So if we draft the dog, we got Wan'Dale Robinson, Bellinger, and Hyatt. And our highest paid wide receiver will be on the bench. Doesn't make much sense. It doesn't make much sense at all. As I said, once again, it makes sense for both sides. I don't blame Darius Slayton, but I said, once again, it's, unless he's trying to, like, maybe try to some kind of a contract, obviously a contract extension where he'll have some, so some security for the future, because maybe he'll sign a contract, and even if they trade him, maybe he has some guaranteed money going into the future or something like that. But I don't blame him for holding out, especially for if he is holding out, right? To try to get a bigger contract, I can understand it. But once again, he also signed a contract. Yes, I'll play the next 2 seasons for $12.2 million or whatever it is. So, if you didn't think you're going to like it, why are you signing it? That's one thing I can't stand about this. But anyway, but also I can also see, as I said, with Shane, if he doesn't give it to him, right? Because I said they're going to give him a contract extension. I don't know if they have plans for him in the future or whatever. I have no idea. But, the guys they're bringing in, the guys they're drafting and bringing them in, to have them be in the starting lineup, And, why are we going to pay a Kenny Golladay $18 million to sit on the bench like he did in year 1 of Dable, right? And I don't want to do that again. Yeah, our most highest paid wide receiver, he's on the bench. Yeah, he might get 10 snaps this game. Shane's really trying to, delegate the money. It's kind of like, obviously they think highly, obviously, of the wide receiver position, right? But, it's you delegate money. It's like, well, the guy wants X amount of money and he did pretty good and blah, 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 blah. But, he wants $15 million. But it's like, we drafted a couple guys. We might draft somebody else. So the guy that wants $15 million a season now might only be on the field for 33% of the snaps. It's like, yeah, that's not good. That's not good bang for our buck. If we're going to pay Darius Slayton, whatever, once again, if he wants 12 million, 13, whatever, if we're going to pay him close to that or something like that, we want it where we want a bigger bang for our buck. So we want him where he's going to be on the field 75, 80% of the snaps, not on the sideline most of the time, right? So I can see it going both ways. And obviously Darius Slayton's not happy and he wants a bigger contract. Maybe Shane could trade him, right? Get to another team. Maybe get something in return for him. Maybe a pick, fourth round pick, a fifth round pick, something in return. Right? Maybe it'd be a win-win. Darius Slayton goes someplace. Maybe he'll get used more often or better, and maybe he'll make a little bit more money for himself. Good for him, man. I think it's a business. But what we got here? But here, this article here says, does Darius Slayton have a point? This is from Big Blue View. Anthony Del Genio. Says Jordan Renan reported Wednesday that wide receiver Darius Slayton has declined to attend voluntary workouts this week because he's seeking a new contract. In Big Blue View comments section and on the top and the app formerly known as always known as Twitter. Yeah, there is considerable negative reaction to this. Some fans claimed he was not honoring his contract. Others said that it was time for the Giants to move on from Slayton. The responses to Renan's announcement of this tell the story. Let's see here. Is Slayton not honoring his contract by not attending? Well, it's voluntary. It's all voluntary. But the workouts are voluntary. Slayton, like many other players, but not all, has a workout bonus clause in his contract that will pay him $350,000 if he attends. So I guess maybe he's passing on $350,000. Man, he'd give that to me, bro. I'll take it. I'll pay my house off. Pay my son's college tuition off. You don't want it, I'll take it. Slayton's cap number in this, the final year of his 2-year contract, is $8.15 million. That comes from a base salary of $2.5 million plus signing, roster, and workout and other bonuses. Skipping the voluntary workouts this week saves the Giants $350,000 on the cap. So that's cool, right? About half of an end of the roster player cost. So about one of the end of the roster players cost about $750 or $700. So basically, because Slayton didn't show up, he saved the Giants $350,000. So I don't think I've seen any fans celebrating that fact. Is Slayton holding out? Let's see. Not as far as we know. Renan's reporting is that Slayton is looking for a contract extension. Apparently, he has not been approached about the possibility, unlike teammates Andrew Thomas and Dexter Lawrence, who signed contract extensions last year in the middle of the season. Thomas and Lawrence are more accomplished players than Slayton, who entered the league in the same class as Lawrence and 1 year earlier than Thomas. But like them, signing Slayton to an extension would likely save the Giants room on the cap this year because of the prorated signing bonus that has become normal, right? You sign him to a prorated signing bonus. It takes his cap hit this season, brings it down, and you push, you get, obviously the cap hit grows larger, as the years go on. But if they were assigned to some kind of a contract extension, right? Or maybe take his cap hit and bring it down, save themselves some cap money this year. But the Giants envision keeping Slayton. It would make sense to extend him sooner rather than later from that angle. The real issue is that the Giants may not envision retaining Slayton at all after this year because they anticipate adding a high-end receiver talent in the draft. Is Slayton worth keeping? Well, the thing is, it's like, is he worth keeping? I mean, obviously, yeah, but not if he's going to want, rightfully so, want $10 to $15 million. I'm just throwing numbers out there. So, rightfully so, he could maybe ask for something like that. However, rightfully, it wouldn't behoove the Giants. They're going to have the guy sitting on the sideline half the game. Right? Giants fandom has a puzzling opinion of Slayton, with many considering him no more than an average wide receiver with a drop problem who is not worth keeping at all or at anything but a bargain price. He will be behind Jalin Hyatt on the depth chart. He will ride the bench while a rookie gets most of the snaps. He will be no better than wide receiver 4 or 5, which is quite possible. I mean, they're trying to get Hyatt in there. They got Wan'Dale Robinson in there. If they draft a wide receiver, especially at pick 6, that's the 3 starting wide receivers. Slayton will be maybe receiver number 4. Hodgins might be number 5. Right? The reality of Slayton is something different. Here are Slayton's 2023 stats compared to the receivers closest to him in season receiving yards who are on their second contracts. Let's see here. So where's Slayton? Darius Slayton. Okay. Played 17 games, 769 yards. There's a bunch of guys there, like Lockett, Deebo Samuel, Myers, Captain Kirk, Cortland Sutton, and all and everything. Slayton was 20th in receiving yards among veteran wide receivers in 2023. His Pro Football Focus receiving grade was similar to many of the other ones. Drops, the bane of Slayton's NFL existence, were not any more of a problem than they were most other receivers in his class, according to PFF's drop grade. And last season wasn't too horrible for him. Now, as far as like drops, right? Look at some of the company he kept, though. Tyler Lockett, Deebo Samuel, Christian, Captain Kirk, Cortland Sutton, Cooper the Cupmeister, Deontay Johnson, Tyler Boyd, Brandon Cooks, Marquise Brown, to name a few. He had to catch passes from 3 different quarterbacks playing behind an offensive line that wasn't an offensive line. Slayton's 302 yak yards in 2023 was exceeded only by Samuel and Cooper Kupp among the group listed above. There is one big difference between Slayton and many of those other receivers, though. Slayton's contract pays him $6 million per year average annual salary. Here are the other contracts per over the cap. Cooper, the Cupmeister, $27 million. Darius Slayton's making $6 million. Deebo Samuel, $23.85 million, or almost $24 million. So Deebo Samuel's getting paid 4 times the amount Darius Slayton is. Deontay Johnson, $18.3. Christian Captain Kirk, $18 million. Tyler Lockett, $15 million. Cortland Sutton, $15 million. Jacoby Myers, $11 million. Tyler Boyd, $10.75. Brandon Cooks, $10 million. Curtis Samuel, $8 million. So, he's getting paid far below a lot of those other receivers that he basically had about the same amount of receiving yards as those guys. I won't claim that Slayton is equal of all of those receivers now, particularly the Cupmeister and Samuel. Absolutely not. But, is Cooper Kupp, right? Is he worth 4.5 times amount Darius Slayton? No, absolutely not. I also won't claim he's worse than all of them either. The hard numbers of his production last season and in 4 of his 5 seasons in the NFL, in which he has led the Giants in receiving yardage, tells us that he's a similar caliber to most of them. Yet he makes less than all but one of them, and he's not in contract negotiations to remain a Giant at the moment. Apparently, and he doesn't seem to be getting much respect from the fans. Oh, he gets a lot of respect from me. I love him. But I tell you, I hope we never. Let's see. I hope we keep him. The problem is, I said, if they had to re-sign him, his contract's going to go up, right? But then he's going to wind up sitting on the bench by quite a bit, unless there's injuries. If Hyatt's injured, or if they draft a dog and he gets injured or something like that, Darius Slayton will be right there, right? But if everybody's healthy, which is a big if for the New York Football Giants. Their highest paid wide receiver, if they redo his contract, whatever, will be sitting on the bench. Doesn't make much sense, right? It's not as if the Giants are overspending on the wide receiver position. Per over the cap, the Giants' $19.6 million devoted to their wide receiver room is the 8th lowest in the NFL, and less than half of what 8 other teams spend. A 2-year extension for 2025 and 2026 that puts Slayton in the mid-range of those players listed above. Let's see, $5 million or so higher than his current contract pay. So I mean, he would be what they're talking about here is at least double digits. They think in this article here he's worth she became paid maybe about double digits, at least 10 million or so. I could see that. That's very fair. Maybe maybe 10, 11 or so, right? But you can just see where what he's making comparable to some of those other guys. I mean, it's like as I said, Cooper Kupp's making 4.5 times the amount of money he's making. Is Cooper Kupp that now? Nope. Right. Put Slayton in with Kupp on his offense and all that, and I almost guarantee you Slayton's numbers come up. Right. So, I said it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. The thing is, it's not like we can't replace Slayton. As I said, about the way it says, because Shane he's drafting his own guys, his own wide receivers, and he's going to start putting those guys on the field, right? And it wouldn't do him much good to give Slayton a contract extension, boost his salary up to 10 million or whatever it is, 11, so 12 or whatever a year, and have him sitting on the bench half the game. That just wouldn't make much sense. So it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds going forward. But as I said, if something does happen and Slayton doesn't show up, or he's not a Giant next season or whatever it is, we'll have other wide receivers. Right. Once again, it's a game. It's a beautiful game, fantastic game, but it's unfortunately a lot of times the business side of it, sometimes can be a little ugly. All right, then we got Bill Belichick. This is funny. Bill Belichick names the Giants great. That was the one exception to his rookie rule. And he's got his rookie rule, but except for this one particular individual, and I think we can all figure out who this one individual is, that would be the exception to his rule. For the first time in a long time, veteran NFL head coach Bill Belichick will be observing the draft from the sidelines, or rather, the broadcast booth. On Wednesday, former NFL kicker Pat McAfee announced on the Pat McAfee Show that the former longtime New England Patriots coach would be co-host their draft special airing next week on ESPN+. Belichick, who famously served as both coach and general manager, gave viewers on Wednesday an insight into what his commentary in Detroit will look like. Let's see. Discussing how he would grade draft picks, Belichick explained that in his experience, he judged whether a player would be considered a bust or not within 1 to 2 years into their NFL career. Usually, what you like to do, especially with Shane, him talking, is that I think by year 3, that's pretty much going to be what the guy's ceiling's going to be. So, most of the time you hear is like 3 years, but apparently at Belichick gives a guy 1 or 2, and then he can tell you if he's going to be any good or if he's going to be a bust. Brady didn't play his rookie year, he said. You judge Tom Brady after his first year, and you have literally nothing. Right? So if you look at Tom Brady after his first year, it's like you have nothing. Well, you got nothing to go on, right? You're talking about the greatest player that's ever played, right? So, after his rookie season, you had nothing. But, however, Belichick did have one exception. New York Giants legend, the man, the sheriff, Lawrence Taylor. Lawrence was a different story. Lawrence Taylor from day one impacted the team, showed he was the best player on the field, way better than everyone else that the Giants had anyway. And we built a defense around him from that point going forward. He continued, it's usually not day one of his rookie year. I would say Lawrence Taylor would be the one exception to that rule. Taylor, the second overall pick in the 1981 draft, wasted no time in becoming an NFL superstar. Two-time NFL Super Bowl champion, Taylor was named Defensive Player of the Year 3 times, including in 1986, when he was also named the league MVP. He led the league in sacks that year and finished his career as an 8-time first-team All-Pro, and with also 10 Pro Bowl nods. Belichick's praise of the Giants' great comes amid reports of a possible reunion. I don't know about that. I don't know. But, so apparently, they saw, what Lawrence Taylor was. I mean, actually, Lawrence Taylor said he started off, I think, like his first rookie practice or whatever. I think he said he was like on the 3rd string or something like that. Then he went to the 2nd string. Then he was on the 1st. So he said like within the first 15 minutes, he went from the 3rd string to the 2nd team to the 1st. Right? So they saw what they had in them, and they knew and all and everything. And not only Belichick, but Coach Parcells, and they let LT bend some of the rules a little bit. One of the stories that was kind of funny that I heard Belichick talking is that they said they used to have like offense and defensive meetings. I guess I don't know if it was after the games were over or if it was Saturday night. Maybe it was Saturday night just before the game. But I think he said like 8 o'clock or whatever it was or something like that at night or whatever it was. I said they'd have like team meetings. It was not, it's just, the defense would go into one room, the offense would go into the other room and all that and everything, so. But, obviously, they wanted everybody in there by a certain time. It wasn't like, yeah, just show up whenever you want. Yeah, whatever. It's, we have the team meetings at such and such a time, and you better be there. So I think it was 8 or 9 o'clock. I think that's what Belichick said. And he said he started his defensive meeting because he was the defensive coordinator. And about 5 after 9 or so, Lawrence Taylor came in, and of course everybody turns and looks, and they all notice that Lawrence Taylor's at least 5 minutes late, as he was quite often. And then after the meeting was over with, Belichick went over to Bill Parcells and said, "Just want to let you know, LT was about 5 minutes or so late." Bill, usually, if you're a rookie or you're like way down on a depth chart or something like that, and you come in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes late or something like that to a meeting, you might be off the team. You might be fined. You might be fined and off the team. You don't do that, but Lawrence Taylor, a little different story. So Belichick told Bill Parcells, and he said, just want to let you know, Lawrence Taylor's probably like 5 minutes or so late, to the meeting. And Bill Parcells like, yeah. If somebody's late, Bill Parcells wants to know about it, so I just want to let you know, Lawrence Taylor was, LT was about 5 minutes or so late. And then Parcells looks at Belichick and said, "Well, why did you start the meeting before he got there?" I mean, usually, we're starting a meeting. If you're not there, you're in trouble. But, and usually I said it's 9 o'clock. We're starting. If you're not there, you're in trouble. We're not holding them. We're not waiting for nobody or nothing like that. But Lawrence Taylor was a little bit different, little bit of a different animal. And, they understood that. So there was some give and take. Basically they gave during the week, but on Sunday, Lawrence Taylor gave whatever he could. Let me tell you freaking what. And for him to be able to play from 81 to 93, the way he sacrificed his body almost every game, it was just simply amazing. He made it that long. Because diving and just the stuff that he did on the field was just unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. All right, and then we got Joe Schoen. He speaks, right? So he had his pre-draft presser, right? So obviously everybody was asking him all these questions and everything like that. So Joe Schoen talks deep class at receiver and quarterback. Seemingly millions of Americans publicly released NFL mock drafts. Seemingly millions? I would go seemingly quadrillions. That's more than trillions. Quadrillions. Yeah. seemingly quadrillions of Americans publicly released, and I'm one of those morons. I did one a couple weeks ago. I'll probably do another one next week. But some of these guys that, like Mel Kiper is on his 312th mock draft. It's like, okay. And that legion of football fanatics is mostly divided into two separate but unequal camps concerning the Giants' intentions in the first round of this year's draft. Majority have the Giants keeping the 6th selection in the first round next Thursday and taking the highest rated receiver, which I'm kind of hoping they do. A smaller camp has the Giants trading up to 3rd, 4th, or 5th picks to add a quarterback. General Manager Joe Schoen didn't reveal his innermost thoughts today as his annual pre-draft news conference. But as he prepares for his 3rd draft as the Giants GM, Schoen spoke highly of the candidates at both positions. The top wideouts are obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, Rome Odunze. Harrison has generally been regarded as the top wideout among those outside the NFL personnel offices who studied the players. But all three could well go in the top 10. I'd be shocked if any one of those 3 wide receivers makes it past number 10. Rather shocked. Schoen says, I do think it's a deep receiver class. They come in different shapes and sizes and speeds. So basically, it's a pick your flavor of lollipop. What do you want? Let's see. Some added value with guys, the new kickoff rules, the guys that can come also do returns too. That would be huge, right? Guys that you can get wide receiver play and special teams play out of could be huge, right? I think there's an added element there too. And there are some receivers that can wear multiple hats, not just as a receiver, but also as a returner, which once again could be huge. Yeah, I do think it's a good draft. However, people have them ranked. I think it is a good draft from the receiver position. I think that there will be several taken in the first round. The Giants are widely considered to be in the market for a premier receiver. Schoen likes the wideouts on the roster, but Wall understands that the benefit in adding a receiver that will cause opposing defenses to shudder, and that's something the Giants do not have. Quite possibly, maybe Hyatt might develop into something of a real, kind of a scary kind of threat. I don't know if his route tree is ever going to be the greatest or whatever, but with his speed, if he can stay healthy, his speed is going to definitely be a factor for years to come, without question. Let's see. Shane said Daniel Jones, who played in the 6 games last year, he's on track to be ready for training camp and thus start the season as the Giants quarterback. Because of that, drafting a quarterback in the first round will likely not deliver the immediate boost that they've got. No, absolutely not. Because if you're looking for somebody in the first round who you can just put on the field and wind them up, say, all right, we'll see you after 17 games, brother. Go get them. That would be wide receiver. Unless for some, they take Alt and they want to put him at right tackle or something like that, which I'd be shocked that they did something like that. But other than that, they're going to grab a wide receiver, somebody they can immediately put on the field, get immediate results right out of. That's not happening with a quarterback. Absolutely not. Even if Daniel Jones wasn't ready. Right? So that's not happening. I got the top 3 quarterbacks, Caleb Williams, right? Jaden Daniels and Drake May. And you got, of course, McCarthy. I think it's a good quarterback class, and I think it's deep, Shane said. You look at some of the guys and the amount of games some of these guys have started and played, it's impressive. Really haven't seen a class like that with some of the quarterbacks that have started and played as many games as they have at a high level. So he was on for he was on for quite a while. So he'll be he's kind of he's keeping his cards close to the vest right there. My job is to do what's best for the franchise, Shane said. There's an opportunity to go up, move back, or stay, whatever it is in the first round, 3rd round, 5th round. That's what we'll do. You take all that into account when you're making those types of decisions. That's some of the planning and strategy and meetings we'll have over the next couple of days. the what ifs and all of that kind of scenarios. You go back and forth on it. The good news is after the first round on Thursday, you can regroup into Friday before the second and third rounds and have those conversations again. The draft being over a 3-day period helps you in terms of when you have those meetings and strategy sessions. When you decide if you're going to go up, down, which players you like, which means much can happen before and during the draft. Absolutely. Shane says we can go in different directions. You also said one thing that interests multiple teams have called about trading up to number 6 in the 2024 draft. So that's interesting. Giants have been rumored as a potential trade-up team in the 2024 NFL draft, but that isn't stopping clubs from gauging their interest in moving down in the first round. General Manager Joe Schoen told reporters on Thursday they've received a lot of calls from teams interested in acquiring the number 6 overall pick. Schoen went on to say he's been surprised by the volume of calls he's gotten about their first-round selection. One possible reason for the interest in the Giants pick is because they are a team that a lot of quarterback-needy clubs picking after them are keeping an eye on. Of course, then there's been the buzz that during the pre-draft process, J.J. McCarthy is the player the Giants want with its first pick. While there was a time when it seemed like McCarthy might be available at number 6 overall, it's starting to feel less likely that ends up being the case. He's been connected to the Commanders with the second pick, with the Patriots at number 3. So if McCarthy makes it past the top 3 picks, the Arizona Cardinals at number 4 become an obvious trade down candidate if a team wants to make a big offer for the quarterback. So, and of course, as I said, let's not forget about the Vikings trading up because they got the 2 first-round picks. They got pick 11 and 23. Right? And let's not forget about the Broncos at number 12, the Raiders at number 13. Quite possibly, they got those 3 teams might want to trade up. And I said, the one thing to do, for them, which makes some sense to me, is to trade with the Cardinals. They're not looking for a quarterback. That way you're jumping up all the other teams. Right? If you can make a trade with the Cardinals, you have to get the 4th best quarterback. Fourth best quarter, or the one quarterback quite possibly that's left over, and hopefully you fall in love with that guy. You better make the right choice there. But so once again, you just because you draft a quarterback in the first round does not mean you've hit a home run. Right? So very, very risky no matter what. But it's interesting to say. We're here that the Giants or Shane's heard some conversation about receiving a lot of calls about the number 6 overall pick. Now, the thing is that you kind of look, it's like, you receive calls for the number 6 overall pick, which I don't know if he knows or if he's ever going to, say or anything like that. Is it meaning like, would have to be a quarterback would have to be available at the number 6 pick? Then he might get some phone calls. So, I said with the, because you got the Cardinals at 4, not needing a quarterback. You got the Chargers at 5, not needing a quarterback. Those 2 teams right there. If 3 quarterbacks are gone, there's still a 4th one on the board at 4. I can see the Cardinals and the Chargers. Those are the 2 teams that can, teams we want to jump up to and trade with, so they can maybe draft that other quarterback. So I don't know. They've got some calls about saying. Unless somebody, I don't know, is stone cold crazy back there, and Dunzier's there, and they want to get Dunzier or Neighbors or something like that. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. But we'll find out in 1 week from 1 week from tonight. That is for sure. All right, then we got, and I just want to go over here real fast. The according to PFF anyway. All right, just want to go over like the tackle situation here. This is just like, there's a lot. Just say basically out of tackles here, offensive tackles. Okay, out of just say the first 200 picks, because if you look at it like with the Giants basically only have, I'm just trying to relate this to what the Giants have, right? So basically, if you look, round 6, right, we basically go close to around pick 200. So we're very close to there. Might be a little over, a little bit, very close. By the time the 6th round's over with, be very close to around this pick number 200, right? So if you look at it here, according to PFF, once again, they got, and what they do is they rank each guy. Not so much that they don't rank. They got like their big board. They say the PFF big board. So you got the guys ranked. So let's see, what is Joe Alt? He is ranked. He's the number 5 overall guy in this draft. Not the way he got. He's not the 5th ranked offensive tackle. He's the 5th ranked player in his overall whole draft, according to PFF. Now, if you look, if the Giants want to take a flyer on a tackle, right? And once again, I've said this before, I would be shocked if in the first 3 rounds the Giants take an offensive lineman. Too many other needs. Okay, they say they take the best player available, but they lie. Okay, if there's a guy, they have a position of need, right? That's where they're going to go. They're not taking, they lie. Okay. But I said, with all of the influx of offensive linemen that the Giants just brought in, right? We kind of need to step back. And as I said, let's not forget, we got McKeithen and Zudu coming back as well, too. So, we need to step back a little bit. Like, what can Brasillo do with the guys that the Giants had last season, the guys that they brought in, right? What can Brasillo do with that? Can Evan Neal stay healthy? Are they going to slide Evan Neal in, put Jermaine Luminor out of tackle? What are they going to do? So, so I would be rather shocked, because especially they have other holes, like a cornerback. Maybe they might want to do something with the safety. I don't know, a quarterback, wide receiver. They have other holes, more immediate pressing needs than the offensive line. After the season's over with, and we'll see what Priscilla was able to do with the offensive line, we can see if certain guys can stay healthy, right? Like Neal, right? But was he able to keep Neal outside? Or did we have to bring Neal inside? Does Luminor work as a good right tackle? So after the season's over with, so once all the dust settles and the smoke clears and all that stuff, and everything, then maybe next year in free agency, if something goes wrong with it, maybe the Giants can address a problem on the offensive line in free agency or in the draft. But this year, I think if they're going to take somebody, maybe they think they can develop. Right? I said it would be either round 4 or 5 or 6. I said I would be totally shocked if in the first 3 rounds they did something on the offensive line. But according to PFF, they got 25 tackles. What's the last number? Is that like 205? Is it? Boo! Is it 218? Well, let me see. I said pick 181. They got a tackle 179, 171, 154, 42, 137, 120, 104, 101, 99, 73, 70, 66, 57, 39, 37, 23, 20, 18, 17, 15, 13, 5. So basically, what do they got? They got the 5th overall player, ranked position. Overall best player is Joe Alt. Then they got Fuaga, number 13. Then they got number 15 as a tackle. Then they got Fasciano is number 17. They got Latham is number 18. Mims is number 20. Barton is number 23. So is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? They got 7 tackles, quite possibly maybe like a first round grade. 7 tackles. Whew, wow. Then I said, then they got Morgan from Arizona is number 37. Number 39 is Guyton from Oklahoma. They got a guy from Yale. I can't pronounce his name. Amagaji. Karan Amagaji. I'm sure I screwed that up, but from Yale. A tackle from Yale, for crying out loud. He's 6'5", 318 pounds. I mean, as I said, there is a ton. Actually, Notre Dame's got two guys. They got Fisher, the number 73 ranked player overall, according to PFF. And then you got Alt as the number 5. So Notre Dame's got their 2 tackles up there in the top 73. So, I mean, there is a freaking ton of guys. As I said, you start looking, so you figure like somewhere in the Giants got pick 107, I think it is, which would be like their 4th round pick. So, and they got, I mean, there's a ton of guys, absolute ton of guys. There's a guy from Paul from Houston. There's Pooney. I think it is Dominic Pooney. There's a from Kansas. There's a guy from Pittsburgh. There's a guy, Isaiah Adams from Illinois. Wallace from Penn State. Christian Jones from Texas. Walter Roos, I guess, from Oklahoma. Foster from Missouri. Leviston, I'm going to say, from Kansas State. Driscoll, Ethan Driscoll from Marshall, 6'7". Then I got a guy from Utah. I mean, there's a ton of guys, absolute ton of guys. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before. There's so many tackles. I mean, it's just crazy. It just goes to show you, what, and obviously, and also there's a few, I went over this before. There's a couple guys, guards, okay, maybe the 4th round, somewhere around there, that the Giants can maybe think about going after, who can play guard, but also could play center. And there was a couple of those guards that played like tackle, guard, and center. Talk about flexibility. Now, I'm not saying those guys are going to be all pros or nothing like that, but, especially with Brasillo, one thing I just heard with Brasillo, he likes is, unless you're like an Andrew Thomas, he walks over to Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas, how you doing? You're our left tackle, and that's where you're going to be, brother. We're not touching you, right? What's up? What's up, Ruben? What's up, buddy? So if you got Andrew Thomas, that we ain't touching you, brother. You're the tackle. You're the man, okay? Other than that, he wants flexibility, right? So he wants it. I mean, the guards maybe, I'm saying they're going to be moving them into center or nothing like that, but they want flexibility. Guys playing multiple positions, right? So there's definitely some guards in this draft class without question who can play guards and a center, okay? And there's so many tackles. I mean, I said, without question, the Giants can certainly draft a tackle if they see a tackle that, especially Brazil, see somebody maybe he thinks he can get, maybe develop or something like that, right? Hey, it never hurts to take an offensive lineman in a draft. The problem is we only got 6 picks, so we brought in a whole bunch of free agent offensive linemen. I'm not sure if they're going to wind up spending a pick on an offensive lineman this season. But if they were to do that, I said, especially the tackles, this is a ridiculous amount of tackles. I mean, as I said, you realize there's like 25 of the top 200 players that PFF has are greater tackles. So basically 1 out of every 8 players on the PFF board from about 1 to 200 is a tackle, offensive tackle. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then you counter that with the amount of wide receivers. Let me the wide receivers. Let me count up the wide receivers they got here in the top 200 too. I mean, it's just crazy. So let me cross off tackles. Let me go wide receivers here. Okay, so in the top 200, PFF has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They got 7 wide receivers that first round grades, apparently. McConkey is the last one. He's number 32. Right, so there's 7 offensive linemen, 7 wide receivers, and there's almost like 7 tackles. So between the tackles and the wide receivers, they got like 13, 15 guys of the top, like first round graded guys or like either wide receivers or tackles. I mean, that's crazy. All right, so we got McConkey 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This is crazy. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. I'm trying to do the top 200, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. This is ridiculous. 31, 32, 33, 34, 30, 34, 34. 34 wide receivers. Actually, the 34th ranked wide receiver is number 186. So he does, so it's like between 34 and whatever, 34 and 24. I mean, you got like 55 to 60 of the top 200 players, according to PFF, are either tackles or wide receivers. That is freaking crazy. 50. I mean, it's like you got like more than a quarter of the top 200 players in the draft, ranked by PFF. Once again, that's all. More than a quarter of them are either a wide receiver or tackle. So, the same thing is, if something were to happen and we didn't wind up getting a wide receiver in the first round, you can get a good one in the second round and the third round. You can get good, solid wide receivers. You're not going to get the dog, that like a Dunzier or Neighbors or Harrison are, but you're going to get yourself a good wide receiver. And I said, if Basile winds up saying, if they want to, let Basile have a crack at it, and let's see what he can do by drafting somebody and developing somebody. There's certainly tackles or a guard, in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds without question. The Giants can have. They said the only thing that would have me question why they would draft an offensive lineman. I said because we just brought in a ton of them, and we still have quite a few guys on the roster. I think we have like 14 offensive linemen, I think, that are signed on the roster, and that doesn't even include, after the draft's over with, undrafted free agents. You can bring some of those guys in as well too. So, for them to go out of their way and draft an offensive lineman, that probably not going to play, makes it a little. Not so sure about that. But we'll have to wait and see. Crazier things can happen. But all right, guys, it's been 1 hour and 6 minutes. Ruben, good talking to you, pal. Good talking to you, pal. So it's been 1 hour and 6, almost 1 hour and 7 minutes. Guys, we're about 6 days away from the draft. Whew. Gotta love it. All right, so whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you, thank you, thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from Bob Hartbeat's World. I mean, thank you, thank you, thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.